Hey there, quick little video talking about how I've been playing around with getting an old compiler front end I wrote running in Serenity OS. Um, so because it was written, it's written in C, and it transpiled to C. Getting it running here was actually fairly easy. If I come over here and I run that, um, I can go and then output. And that runs it, and that runs the compiler, and we get an output C file that it generated, and then you can run GCC on that, and then run the output on that, and then there's all our tests getting run. Um, Getting this to build was a little bit annoying, but not too bad because it is just C. Um, Originally, it was written. I used scons because I was a dummy at the time. Um, but it's only a handful of C files and a few headers. I did have some link errors originally. So I came into all my header files and I was like, maybe this port of GCC doesn't support Pragma once or something. I don't know. So I wrapped it all in. Oh, that's a bug. Didn't happen again. Okay. So I just wrapped it all in include guards. Of course, that did fix anything. Then I realized that because I was compiling each C file into its own um, object, um, they were all including the headers multiple times, and I have type definitions in these headers. So even though each C file was could only include the header file once, it was still at link time there was multiple instances. So I just created a quick main.c and just included all my C files in there and built that, and everything was fine. Um, this thing's a piece of crap because there's a lot of design decisions I did poorly, but we can play around with this real quick. Um, we have our test directory. I did make some really dumb decisions with syntax. For example, um, this is the syntax for a pointer to an i32 because I wanted to do stuff like new, let's say i32 list, and then that's very obviously calling the constructor to list, but like it didn't make much sense. But we can come in here. And I also had weird pointer syntax, but we can play around with. If we open up syntax, we can show that stuff's working by if I come over here, we have if false, else return, and if I remove this, and oh, I'm alt tabbing on my host. Hold on, there we go. And then I run the compiler again. It'll complain, not equal pass return a value and stuff like that. So I keep alt tabbing on my host. This was fun to get running. It was a little bit difficult to get the source code into the OS, because while there is a port of Git to Serenity, it does not support actually cloning repositories. That's not hooked up yet. So I had to clone the repository from my host and then shove it into the folder that the Serenity build tools use to construct the ISO, which was a little bit interesting. To have to figure that out, but that wasn't too difficult. So yeah, this was just a bit of fun. Um, it's cool to take something that you've built and like run it on to like port it to a completely different operating system. This took like maybe 10 minutes of work, if that, just because I had those link issues. But there was more time just being spent waiting for the port of GCC to build. But yeah, that's about it. This was really cool and really fun. I have a few other projects that I want to try to get running on this, but it's more difficult when you're depending on the language and toolchain. For example, I write a bunch of Rust stuff, and like that's not going to run on here anytime soon, which is a little unfortunate. But um, just the getting Rust itself bootstrapped would be a massive pain in the butt because you'd need to get a build of LLVM running on Serenity first, and that takes up to 100 gigabytes of storage just to build, which is just ridiculously stupid. But anyway, this was really fun. That's about it. Thanks.